Greetings from Chicagoland. You're listening to Munira's Musings, where your host Munira will showcase new guests each week to share exciting details about the journey to their niches. As we like to say, the riches are in the niches. And on this show, we'll share ideas on how to break through our invisible boundaries so we can start taking steps towards our dreams and create the life that we most desire. If you're passionate about impacting lives, then this podcast will give you some great ideas and equip you with the tools to quickly grow your business. Okay, let's get started with today's show. Here's your host, Munira.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira coming to you live with another episode and my guest, Krishna ji. How are you, Krishna ji? He's joining us today.
Fine.
He is joining us from India, and we are Cialdini practitioners and certified professionals, where we can come and talk to you about Dr. Robert Cialdini's book, Influence. And in the book Influence, he talks about several things and how people are able to influence other people to do what they want, right? And in our business as entrepreneurs, we are learning how to use these principles. So last week we talked a little bit about what the overall book was and who Cialdini was. And if you haven't heard that segment before, it's on my Facebook. Go just scroll down. You can go hear it. And Krishna also is he's like a student of this thing, and he's really taken a very deep dive into Cialdini's principles. So today's segment, we are talking about reciprocation and why this is so important to, one, people in the world, and two, how you can take your business to the next step. So before further ado, Krishna ji, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much, Monera. It's always a delight to be a part of this podcast series that we are doing. And it's very nice that we want to share our insights to the world so that they become successful, they're able to build a relationship, and they're also able to make people come closer towards them. And this is Krishna here from Bangalore. I'm born, brought up, and staying in Bangalore. This is from India here. I've been in sales management and training for about 33 years. The first 16 years in sales and sales management, and then the balance 17 years in sales and sales training. I would have trained about more than 10,000 plus sales people across 20 different industries. And I'm very happy and excited to be a part of this institute, where we both became an ethical influence practitioner as well as Cialdini certified professional. And today's topic is very, very interesting. What you said is about reciprocity. The basic principle of this reciprocity itself, it says that the social rule is that the people should give back to the others who have given back to them. And that's very simple principle. But in the context of the business, it's about building relationship. This principle is very, very useful. And that's what we are going to talk about. Thank you so much. Munira, go ahead.
So, how many of us have been invited to a party, and then we think we have to invite that person? The art of gift giving. We just passed Christmas this a few weeks ago, and we know that if somebody gave me a Christmas gift, then I was obligated to find a gift for that person to give it. And we're caught in this cycle all the time. But how can we use this principle in our businesses as businesspreneurs and then take it to the next level? So the principle of reciprocity means that give and take, right? We have to give and we have to take. And one such study that he talks about in his book, Cialdini talks about, is when you have received, in the United States, we receive mail from the Red Cross or St. Jude's, and they send they send you the paperwork and ask you to fill out this form and send them a donation. But with that comes stickers. They give you address stickers so that you can use them when you are mailing something. Now, in this world, in today's world, we don't use a lot of mail, but people still like those because it's neat and it's just a sticker and you don't have to write stuff. But you use it. Even if you have 15 stickers, you can use it for 15 letters that you're mailing out. So to keep that in mind, let's talk about how this principle goes beyond individuals and cultures. So take it away, Krishna.
Oh, that's very interesting. What you shared about that case study of the labels that the stickers they put. And I'm sure you know that these reciprocity principles are not from today. It has been there for ages, which is there. You would have seen that the countries giving gifts to the others, and the in reciprocation, they give it back. One of that case study which was there is about the Mexico and the South African country, Ethiopian country, which was there. At that point of time, if you look at that, the Ethiopian country was not very rich and very poor, but it was surprising to say that the Mexicans had some calamity. They gifted $5,000 to the Mexico. And they did their research and found out why that this happened. How did this company, which is so poor, is able to give it? But then they went back to 1935 when Mexicans had helped these people in that period of time. And that's how the reciprocity happened over generations, not now, it is over a period of generations there. And I'm sure this is the same thing which happens across the culture, across the religion, across the continents and all that. Now, in the same way, when you come to the business itself, I'm sure today, if you look at every world which is there, they want people to try out, they want people to give a gift of something. And there was one very interesting study which was done at the McDonald's. They said that the people who came, there were two studies which was there. The first study was that the people who came in, they gave a one balloon. The moment they entered, they gave a one balloon. And then the second group was when they made a purchase, when they were going out, they gave one balloon. And they found out that the gift which was given in the advance, the moment they entered, they had about 25% ticket size, which was increased. And that's how the business of principle about science and the application works everywhere in what I say. What's your thought there? Monira, anytime you have got into this kind of thing that somebody gave you back and you gave it back to them in return or something?
Oh, yes, right. So I have a podcast. Of course, you are on it, Munira's Musings. And there are podcast people out there who charge to be on a podcast. And there have been many times when I've invited them. My podcast is free, so I invite every guest because I think people are very interesting and each one has a story. And but that's my story. And so there are some people that I invite and they come on and they love being on the show. And then they'll tell me that I have a podcast. And since you have invited me to your podcast, I just want you to be a guest on mine and I will waive the fee for you. And that's how I've gotten on several podcasts. And it's just wonderful because podcast is a different story. It's a way to market your business also. And, there's a lot of people out there listening to what you have to say. So you can bring out that message that way. And reciprocity works in different ways. So sometimes it doesn't always have to be money. But I like this study about McDonald's where they, and nobody would think of this. I mean, how would people think of this? But the fact that they gave the balloons to the people when they entered, right? Here in Chicago, there is a chocolate shop, the Fannie Mae chocolate shop. And then when you go in there, they never used to give samples. I mean, whenever I have gone there, I've had to ask, do you not have samples? How do I know what I'm getting myself into? And life is, like chocolates are chocolates, but it has to be a tasteful chocolate that you like. And I've always felt that when people give you a sample, you buy more. So I like that study. And the fact that Cialdini has done the studies on this, it's become more prevalent. So how can we take this study and put it into our business where we don't have a standalone shop? We don't have a brick and mortar shop, or we don't have people coming, and we don't have the time to blow up a balloon and give it to them. So what do you think we should use in our small businesses and help other people?
That's a very good question. And straight away, you're moving into the application area, Manila. What I say is that first, it's important to understand what is the difference between a gift and a reward. Okay, I'm sure I would share some things, and I'm sure you also can share one thing. Gift is no condition, but the reward is with a condition. You do this, I'll give you this. And the second one is gift starts a conversation, and the reward actually ends the conversation there. That's what it happens there. And would you like to share something about what is the difference between gift and reward according to you? And then we take it up from here. How do you apply this as well? Yeah.
Well, a gift is something like, I like, for example, if somebody did, I would just say to somebody, I'm doing a workshop. I want you to come and attend. Let's come and see that. And if I'm charging for this workshop, then I would say, you know what, I'll gift it to you. When I was struggling as an entrepreneur, I've had several coaches out there who would say, you know what, Munira, I'm going to gift you 3 sessions. So I'm going to give you 3 sessions or 3 hours of my time to work with me. And you have to put what I'm teaching you into application and work with it. And then once you work with it 3 times, and if you think that there's still value in it, then we go forward or we cut ties. And some people I've continued working with, and some people I had to cut ties with, but that was the gift, right? They wanted to make sure that I did go forward. Now, is every coach out there for you? We don't know, but this is a different industry. Now, for rewards, I think I have grandchildren, so I'm always looking at, if you go brush your teeth, then we can have waffles, right? So, so that's the reward system, that if you do this, then I do that.
Correct. Yeah. In fact, what you said is right. If you go deep down and see this, reward is actually basically lower level of trust that you have. And that is why you put a condition. But gift, when it is there, you have no condition. You have a free trust on the other person, and that's why you are giving a gift of it. Now, what you said is about the application part of it. If you have a website, if you have a very valuable source of something to share it with the participant or your prospect, I think you must say, write it very clearly on the website. Here is a gift for you, and no strings attached. When I say no strings attached, don't ask email, don't ask the phone number, don't ask the name as well. It's a gift. Just present it as though you are giving a gift, and just say, download this. And that's how you can make it as the first gift. And I'm sure this is what happens in many of the malls, many of the business places, where they give a little bit of sample to you to taste it. And we are obligated to give it back to them when we are buying on that. And that's why I say one of the best ways is to give the gift without having any condition. Don't ask anything. No strings attached is what I say. That's one way of application.
Okay. Yeah. So, but why? Okay, so then on the other side, people will be thinking, but I need to build my list. I need to find who this person is who downloaded. How am I supposed to follow up? Anybody can download this. Then how am I going to ever follow up with them? So then what happens? Because then this person can take and go.
That's the beauty of it. I think that requires a mindset of giving. Let him be happy with what he is getting it. But if he likes it, he'll obviously come back to you in reciprocation. And then you can call him and say, join for my webinar. And by registering, there is more obligation for that to do, and that is how they will do that. And that's why what you're doing on social media is also to say, give something back to the people. And once they like it, they'll come back to you when you make a next request.
Hmm. Okay. Okay, that sounds good. So we
Yeah,
talked about McDonald's study about
yeah,
giving a balloon. So, and we're
yeah.
talking about coaches and we're talking about people with businesses. Now, if you had a brick and mortar, like if you were an engine shop or you had a glass workshop, you can't give samples of a glass and say, here, take this glass. I mean, this is a window we are making. So how would you then a person in that business, or if you were a plumber, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to, I mean, how would they be able to?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. That's a lovely question, I would say. It is not that you have to give anything that in kind itself. The gift can be anything which can be of intangible things that you can give. If you are a glass maker or somebody who is a plumber, you can even make a small card and say, these are the 10 things for you to maintain this kind of thing. How to prevent the leakage, what are the 10 things that you can do. You can give a simple guidelines to them. That's the reciprocation that you're giving. You can also give a information to them. In fact, I would say when I say intangible gift or something, when you can recognize to somebody that they select a particular piece of good glass, you can appreciate them and say, wow, you have a wonderful selection there. That's the kind of thing. You can also show your expertise as a gift you can give. You can give somebody else as a referral to somebody else. And that's a gift to you, right? It's not that you have to give something like that. If somebody you know that customer has got some interest, you can always say, I have somebody who can help you out on that. In fact, I would say, even if you show a genuine interest to why that person wants to do something with you, then you can definitely reciprocate that with intangible gift. That's why I always say gift is not only about giving something money or a kind of something, even the intangible gift that whatever you give is a wonderful gift.
So you bring up a good point because Cialdini
Yeah.
talks about we, as practitioners, we have these teachings and we have classes and we have everything that we have to go to. But, you know, people have to think outside the box. And this is one way to do it. So I like the idea that if you're a plumber or a glassmaker, is to just write a list of 10 things you can do or 5 things you can do and just give them that piece of paper where everybody can have it on a refrigerator or you know they have it in front of them because they need to take care of things. It could be a plumber, it could be a glassmaker, it could be a machine shop. 10 things that you can help, or you buy earbuds, right? And then why would that person, like I just bought earbuds, my old earbuds were out, so I said I'm going to buy earbuds. And one thing that you know, there was a little card, it came with it, and it says how to take care of your earbuds. You know, don't put it out in the heat. Make sure that you clean them periodically so you don't infect your ears. And then you know, things like that. It's just so it's such a nice little card, and I don't have it with me because it's in the car, but it was really informative. And that's how you can also use that kind of concept in your business. So we talked about a gift and a reward, and you said the gift comes with no strings attached, a reward comes with this thing. So we talked about we talked also about the activators of how to do favors. Now, what, you know, we are referring people, we are doing favor, we are making concessions, we're doing all of that stuff. But how then can we take this whole pillar of influence of reciprocation and move forward? So do you have any other case studies that he did
Yeah.
that we can look at?
One I can give you definitely a case study, but one I want to share you some personal experience as well. We're working with a company which actually sells about mattresses. Okay. One of the best things that the mattress retail shop, which is there when the customer comes in, is to first is to say, thank you so much for coming and all that. And before you look for the product that you want, a mattress that you require, here are the guidelines on how to get good sleep. That itself is a wonderful gift that they can give. And that's how it was reciprocation. And they liked it. Oh, this is fantastic news for me. And now I'm able to select something. In fact, we were working with one real estate company, and the best gift that they can give to a real estate company is to tell them about the information about the area surrounding to them on that. And then they say, this is just an information for you. You can use this is what you can say on this. But when it comes to studying, I think there was a beautiful study which was there. That this is about the hotel towel study. They had three different appeals. And the first appeal here said that help us save the environment and use this towel repeatedly or something. Then they had the success rate at about 35% use rate. But then partner with us to help me save the environment, they said. And that had about 30.7% reuse rate or something. And but then they said we have already donated for an environment cause in the name of our guest. Can we count on you? And they said we have already contributed. And the reuse rate was 45.3% rate. The fact clearly shows that you give first and the people will accept you on this. And you can apply the same thing at every place, whatever it is. And if you are a small time business people, just give your expertise to people and share some guidelines, some thoughts to people on this, and that would actually help you. Is what I say. This is one case study that I want to share with you.
So this is the towel one, right? So okay, let's talk about that, right? So they first said, did they do this study in 3 different phases, or did they just put different signs in one hotel?
Like in three different signs is what they put there. I mean, 3 different groups they would have done that. That's how I would say. The one group they had said that help us save the environment and see how many people will respond to that. And the second one they said is that the partner with us to help save the environment, then see how many people respond to that. But then you use this reciprocity principle and say, give it back to them and say, we have already donated an environment for an environment cause in your name. Can we count on you? Say yes or something.
So they've already done something. And that was the one that had the highest amount of people.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So this whole process about reciprocation is give first, right? Give and give, right? Give first, don't expect. And isn't that the religions teach us that too? Like give first, charity first, just give. Don't worry about stuff. I was in a workshop where I was talking, I was listening to, I think one of the, I attended so many of them, but one of the speakers, he was saying that anytime as a coach, when you are feeling that you're not going forward, just give forward, right? Just keep giving, because people don't know you. People don't know you, and you have to be showing up in front of people. So if you are struggling and in your businesspreneur and you're trying to figure out what am I going to do with all of this? How am I going to go forward? Then start giving. And I saw a big difference because I'll tell you my story is last year, what I did was I was struggling. I had my podcast. Everything is fine, but you still need more. Yeah, we are people. We just need more. And what happened was I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And I started, I got this idea about doing workshops. And I said, if I never do the workshop, I'm never going to get good at it. So I'm just going to do the workshop. And I started inviting people to a free workshop. So every Tuesday, on the second Tuesday, every second Tuesday of the month, I do a free workshop. And I just did one last week, this past Tuesday, and that was my 6th one. And the first one the first 2, I didn't have any people. So I talked to myself. Even though the workshop was there, I still talked to myself, and I just made this happen. So that happened. And then after that, people started realizing they wanted to just come and taste and figure out. So the last workshop, I had about 15 people sign up. And yeah, the numbers are low, but they need to know who I am and what my teaching style is and how I comprehend it, how I answer questions, and what I'm talking about if I'm sticking to the subject. Because how many times have we listened to a speaker and said, that just wastes my time, right? So this is a way to do this. So my way of giving back is doing a free workshop every Tuesday. What's your way?
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. I would say we see many webinars we attend and we get influenced and we say yes to them just because on that webinar they gave a very insightful and we got applied it. It may not be immediately there because of various conditions, but they will come back to you when they need it or something. And that's a wonderful strategy. That's how you'll find a lot of free webinars that given everywhere is what I say, all the coaches and all that. In fact, one of the things which I always say, Madhira, is that anything what we give as a gift also has got some amplifiers. What I mean by amplifier is that it should be meaningful to that person, then only it makes him good. And the second one is it should be customized to him. And the third one is it should be unexpected on them. Let me give you one example for that matter. We always give many companies, they give New Year gift or some festival gift as pens or something as that. And one of the biggest mistakes that most of the people do is that they write their company name. And the moment they put the company name, it becomes an advertising and not a gift. And I'm sure you know that where that pen goes to, it goes into pen box or it goes to somebody else there. But imagine a small thing that you can make a small change. If you are want to give a gift, write his name and give it. And then you will find that pen will find a place in his pocket there. And that's the power of giving a customized gift. Then you might say, I have a big number of customers. How can I do to everybody? You don't have to do anything. Even if you can give it to 10 customers to start with, that's a good way to see how much reciprocation is there. And I'm sure you all give this book to customers as a gift or something. But if you do a personalized message to him and say, hi, Munira, this is a gift from my side to you. Wish you all the best. The small word that you write, it makes so much impact. And this is what I say, how you can apply this in various situations, Munira.
You bring a very good you bring a very good point, because when my late husband, he used to save things. Somebody gave him a clock years ago, and this clock never worked. It just died and it wouldn't work. And he was like, this is a gift, I don't want to give it away. Somebody had given him a box of plates that he never used. He just wanted it for sentimental value. And I'm like, why don't you use these plates? And he goes, no, they are a gift, So I think when people give you a gift, it is meant to be used, right? So don't just save it and don't take the pen and put it in a pen box and say, I'm never going to use it. You want to use it because you always want to keep that person in mind. And, how many times have we received gifts that are etched with our names or our initials, and we don't think so much of the gift, but when it has a personalized touch, it takes it to the next level, right?
Yeah,
so I think that's a very good point. That's a very good point.
In fact, there is one case study which I want to highlight. Given in simple way, how this one study made a difference for me as well, and how I apply this as well. This is a free water example. A very successful, according to Cialdini's the course that I did, I saw that there is a very successful orthodontist thought he was already using a reciprocity principle powerfully in his waiting room. And as the patient entered into the clinic, he had a staff point to a refrigerator and say, please help yourself. Okay. But he thought that is a reciprocity. But what he was actually using the principle is that it is not about reciprocity. It was just a free water, but it doesn't portend gift. Instead, the patient saw it as an entitlement because it was out in the open. But what is the one small change that they could do was basically they said that putting the refrigerator behind the receptionist and say, thank you so much for coming. I'd like to offer you something, refreshment for you. Would you like to have a Coke? Would you like to have a sparkle? Would you like to have a water? The moment you make this offer as a customized one, and if they pick up that, okay, Coke or any sparkling water or something, that's a gift. So there is a fine difference between what you offer as a free and what you offer as a gift. Entitlement is not a gift. Is what I say. Yeah.
Okay, so making those little changes. So
Yeah.
We've talked about several studies that Cialdini has done. Do you know of any studies that other people have or they've talked about and said, this is what I've done and this is what changed in my business?
I will give you my own personal example after going through Cialdini's program. Earlier, I used to go and give, when the participants come to my classroom, I used to give them a pen, I used to keep it. Okay, I used to keep the pens on the table. And I never had a great response, even if I give a great quality pen or something. But after listening to all these things, what I did was I selected 6, 7 color pens. Even though they're right, the blue, but there was a red, green, light blue, all these color pens that I took. And I kept it on the table. As the participant came, I said one thing to the participant, thank you so much for coming. Here is a gift for you. You can choose whatever the color you want. I used to see an instant smile and built up of rapport. That's the best way to give a gift is what I'm thinking about, right?
Okay, so color coordination also works. So you give them a choice of what to pick.
You give them a choice. And they used to say, oh, this is for blue is for me, this is that is for me. And I used to start the conversation with them. What makes you like that blue color or something and all that. And that used to be a very good response. I built up an instant rapport with them when I don't know anybody for the first time when I'm meeting them. That's how I say it works very well.
So you bring up a good point also again now, say you want to build rapport, right? So by giving a gift, you also build rapport.
Absolutely.
I like that. I like that very much. Thank you. So any last points? We are running late. So any last points that our listeners should listen to?
Yeah, well, I want to say one study, and then I want to say my final points. One study is that there was a construction company which wanted to do a survey, market survey, to find out how effective that. They said you complete a survey and we'll give you $50. And they also did the other one and say, here is a $5 gift for you, and you can complete the survey. And they found out that the reward group, where you complete a survey and I give you $50, only 23% of the people responded. But on the other hand, you give a gift, and then after to complete, they found out that the 52% of the people responded to that. That clearly shows that the reciprocity works very well. So what is that? My final word to everybody is that have a mindset of giving first. And it always says that give and take. But you also should take, because only if you give, you drain out your energy or something. But it's also good that if somebody wants to give you back something, please take it. And don't say no. And the second one, as I say, today you challenge yourself, what is that I can give as gift to my customer? And that's how you decide, which makes you to think and say, how can I help my customer? That's my word on the reciprocity principle. Go ahead, Mati. Yeah.
No, I love it, because the thing is, even if we go to big stores here, recently Patel stores, which is very accustomed to the Indian goods here. When I went there the other day, they had a lady who was giving out those cocktail samosas for free, right? And this is the concept that Costco is a big supermarket here. They have used it for years. And if you go, people just go on Saturday to taste the food, right? How many of us have just taken the food and run and not bought anything? And how many of us just go there and say, okay, I'll try it before I buy it? And that's part of the thing, is like you always want to share how you are, what your personality is. And that's part of my strategy as well in my coaching business, is to take these for a second Tuesday of the month, and there's 12 of them. It's 12 hours a year that I'm going to spend with these people. And as word spreads, they're going to show up and they're going to talk about it. We've talked about ideal clients, we've talked about niches, we've talked about goals, we've talked about disc personalities, which is coming back again. But the thing is that people need to know what we are talking. It's a sample of what you are doing. So give away advice, because the thing is, chances are people are going to read that and they're going to value that. And there's some people who don't, but most people will. So ideally, keep in mind that giving a gift is essential to any business.
So I want to say something, Monica. This is very common in our culture. I'm sure it is in every culture or something. If you have a girl child in your home, the father and mother give an instruction to the girl child and say, don't accept a gift from somebody who is unknown. Okay? Basically, if a boyfriend or somebody gives a gift of a greeting or a chocolate or a flower or something, and then they are obligated to give them back when they ask for a favor. And that's how it's always given an instruction in our family, and say, don't unnecessarily accept a gift because you're reciprocated to give it back to them or something like that. Okay, it's a word of caution that if you're trying to take this, be careful about this. You don't have to fall into this trap of this, but genuinely you give a gift in the interest of other person, then it works, is what I say. I'm sure this works, yeah.
Right, true. What you're saying is, I didn't think about it as a personal thing. I was always working towards, okay, let's businessize this, because we're always talking as entrepreneurs and we are working through business. But that's a good way, because we teach our children not to accept gifts, from anybody. Don't take anything from anybody that you don't know. And then this could be opening up a whole different debate, but just be careful about who you are accepting from. The purpose of this whole workshop and whole segment of reciprocation is gifting, right? But also the purpose is through business, right? How do we influence other people to realize who we are, and why should we entice them to either become our client? Because there's several coaches out there. The world is full of them. And how does this one person resonate? That's the word, resonate with you. So we are looking at influence. We're thinking about it. This is a very basic book. It takes about, and when you sit down and think about it, I had to read this book twice to literally understand it. And each time I read it, I always have a new awakening about something different, because it is he's talking in a language. The book is written to me, and I'm just going to share it with these people. It's written in a very high sophisticated language. He wrote it as a college professor. He didn't write it for somebody who is fifth grade. And we are told now that if you're writing a book, make sure that it's fifth grade English. And that's perfect. That's fine. But my question to all of you is, we are trying to influence others to come into our business. And how do we do that? So the first step is reciprocation.
And that should be done in an ethical way. When I say ethical, no manipulation, no force, no coercion, no hierarchy. And that's the beauty of this Cialdini work. Everything is based on science, ethics, and application. And that's the best part of this Cialdini's work, which makes anybody who want to be in ethical business, then this is the one that they should go.
We talked about our culture, and we talked about accepting gifts, and we have to do this because it's true. Every time somebody invites you to something, you think, oh my God, I have to now return the favor. So what do? Either don't give gifts, or don't invite people, or don't go. I don't know. But still, that nagging feeling is still there, that I have been invited and I have to reciprocate. But we're talking about this in business sense, right? How do you influence people through reciprocation? And this is one of them. And the fact is that, we've talked about different gift ideas. We've talked about, sharing, a postcard with, a little postcard with different tips and tricks or whatever. So it's that way. So why should this person listen to you, and why are you important? And that's what we are trying to make this point about. Any last words?
I think it was very wonderful talking to you, Marina. We discussed a lot of topics, but if people want to learn something more about it, the first one is they can contact us and they can buy the book. That's on Influenced by the Psychology of Persuasion as well. And we would be able to address their influence challenge as well. If they're interested to know, we would be able to offer them one free gift session to them. Even now, saying that come forward, ask us your influence challenge, we would be happy to help.
Okay, sounds like a plan. No, I mean, for those people who are interested in learning more about this, different ways, like we said, reach out to us. You know where to find me, you know where to find Krishna. It doesn't matter who you go to. Practicing, that's what matters. So go ahead and reach out, and we'll share this information with you, and we'll go forward. Next principle is going to be liking, and we're going to be talking about more about that and why is this important. So tune in, join us, share your comments. If you've listened to this, I want to know what your thoughts are about this. And if you have any questions, if you have anything that you want answers to, go ahead and send us a message, either private messages, or we are on Facebook. So just send a message and we will reach out back to you, and we will do a segment on that, or we will just send you a message or have a private conversation with you. Until then, have a good week. I'll see you next Thursday at the same time, same place on Munira's Musings. Thank you, everybody. Have a good week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Munira's Musings. We hope that you found today's conversation inspiring and useful, so that you can continue making progress towards mastering your own niche. Please tune in next week for another episode, and in the meantime, you can follow us on social media at Munira's Musings on Facebook, and leave us a review wherever you're listening to podcasts. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.